affected my life, not only in that moment, but like forever. At the time, I felt scared that I was gonna be in trouble and like, fuck, like my parents know who I really am now. They didn't even think that would be a thing that I would do. Oh my god, why are you scratching me? Hi, welcome, ow. Welcome to my kitten, or welcome back to my kitten. Yeah, same. Anyway, hi. Alright, I don't want to have a big long intro, I just want to get right into this video. Like most good things in life, this video happened on my toilet. Let me explain. Well, there's not really an explanation. I was sitting on my toilet, you know. Fuzz on my lip. So I was sitting on my toilet and I was on Instagram. Just my morning routine. I saw one of the meme accounts post that meme. I've seen it before, like years and years and years ago, but it's like something along the lines of, you weren't a teenager if you didn't tell your parents you were going to a sleepover, but you were really dead in the field because you drank too much vodka. I saw that like years ago and I was like, wow, that is so painfully accurate. Saw it again today. It like just brought back a rush of memories from high school. Well, the first thing that came to my mind was the time that I literally was in a field. We drank vodka, but we also like did Molly or something, and we told our parents that we were spending the night at each other's houses. So that was the first thing that came to my mind. But then I was like, you know, I need to make a video talking about the few times that I got caught in high school, because let me tell you, I had to have been a very smart, devious child. Teenager, because my parents are hella smart. Okay, I have 4 older sisters that they went through all of this with already before me. We were all rebellious. We were all wanting to do things that we weren't allowed to. We were all raised Mormon. We were all not having it. But also, there was a lot of times where I wasn't allowed to just like go to a party, even if I was like, I'm not gonna drink, or I wasn't allowed to, you know, spend the night at a friend's house if they didn't know their parents. My curfew was always super early, like super early. So there was also some things that it was like, I felt like my parents were really strict on that other parents weren't. And then there's of course like no parents really want their kids to like do drugs and stuff like that. But I snuck around and did things I wasn't supposed to do probably from the age of 13 until I left for college when I was 17. The reason I say I must be like pretty damn devious is because I can only think of a handful of times that I got caught doing something. Either caught in a lie, like just a blatant lie, or like my parents found out that I was doing something that I didn't straight up lie about, but like we never had a discussion where I was like, I'm not gonna hitchhike naked. But like if I hitchhiked naked, they'd probably be pretty upset, you know what I mean? There are far more times that I didn't get caught than times that I did get caught. So I wanted to make the video on the times that I got caught. Let's start here because I'm pretty sure this is like in the order of the things that I'm gonna tell you. I think this happened first. So this is one of those things that's like, I shouldn't have had to hide that I was doing this because everyone else was allowed to do it and it was encouraged. As I mentioned earlier, and if you've been watching me, you know, I was raised Mormon. A lot of people have the impression that like Mormons have tons of rules and like it's really strict and all that kind of stuff. Truth is, we really, I say we because that was my life for 17 years, but they really don't. It's called standards, like a list of standards or principles that like you're encouraged to live your life by because they will be beneficial to you in the long run. One of those was one of the standards, and one of the things that they encourage you to do, you don't go on dates, one-on-one dates, until you're 16. So stemming off of not being able to date, I wasn't allowed to have a date to a school dance until I was 16. Again, since I'm young, I didn't even turn 16 until my junior year of high school. I was bummed because I wanted to be able to have a date to the dances freshman year, sophomore year. I knew that like I was gonna go with a date if I wanted to, but I kind of sucked because I was like, my parents aren't gonna be able to like, we're not gonna ever be able to do pictures at our house and like stuff like that. My sophomore year, I had just turned 15 and I had a boyfriend. I had the same boyfriend all of sophomore and junior year. Oh, also, my freshman year, homecoming, Sadie's, all of the dances, like, I would have a date for, but I just wouldn't tell my parents that I had a date. Sophomore year, the first dance of the year, like the first big dance of the year, homecoming, you always go like in a big group, right? Like with a bunch of people, but he was my date, obviously. We talked about like matching, you know, his, I think he wore a bow tie. Yeah, his bow tie to my dress, and my dress was like this fuchsia, like purpley color. So he got the same colored bow tie. So my dad drives me and my best friend over to this kid's house where everyone was meeting to take pictures. My dad stays for like 10 minutes to take a couple of his own pictures, then he's gonna go. Everyone's like there with their dates and stuff. Like my dad knows of my boyfriend, he knows who he is kind of, but this was like at the beginning of our relationship, so I really don't think he knew that I had a boyfriend, you know, because I wasn't allowed to, and But I mean, again, like, they know, you know, they're not stupid. And so everyone's got like their matching dresses with the matching ties, and my boyfriend at the time just wasn't wearing his bow tie. He like left it on the table inside of this kid's house because it would have just been so obvious, you know. Fuchsia bow tie, my fuchsia dress. He's also the only one there that doesn't have a date. I'm the only one that doesn't have a date, you know. So we're all sitting there getting ready to take a picture, and my dad's like, you know, about to take a couple before he leaves. And this kid's mom, it was her house, the mom of the kid who we were all friends with, she runs out and she's like, hey, hey, and she's calling my boyfriend at the time's name. She's holding his bow tie and she's like, you left this on the counter, you left this on the counter. And she goes and like starts to hand it to him and like tries to put it on him, and he's like,
okay, no, it's fine, like it's fine.
He like takes it and goes to like put it in his pocket, and she's like, no, you need to put it on, you need to put it on. And he's like,
no, like it looks stupid, I don't want to put it on.
So she puts it on him, and the whole time I'm just like, trying to like not make eye contact with my dad, not make eye contact with like anyone. I'm like trying to like talk to my best friend. I see my dad like out of the corner of my eye, and he's like with his camera, and he's like just like looking at the whole thing happen, like like interesting. After the dance or the next morning or whatever, he was like, I know that he was your date. I didn't get in super trouble this time, so this is a good one to start off with because it's just like a very minor infraction that I just happened to get caught for. I didn't get like in trouble. My dad didn't yell at me, nothing like that, but it's a small one to start off with. Okay. Whoa, speak of the fucking devil, my dad just texted me. I'm just gonna do all the ones that relate to this particular boyfriend because I'm trying to kind of go in order here, and these were all like sophomore year things. But now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, I realize why my parents hated him. And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I hated him too. Legit, like the whole last year that I was with him, but I was really scared of him. He was really abusive, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so whenever I had the chance, whenever I was home alone and I knew I was gonna be home alone for a while, I would have my boyfriend come over. He would park on the street, like not my street, but a different street, walk down, wait till there was no cars, hop over my backyard fence, and then come in through the back door by my pool in my backyard. Okay, sorry if the camera moved, it overheated. He would have to come in the back door, which I learned from my older sisters because they learned after a couple times of getting caught that if someone came in through the front door, one of our freaking neighbors would snitch on us, and we still hate him to this day. Okay, he would watch us with binoculars when our parents were out of town. It was like the worst thing ever. He would snitch on us. So they kind of started the whole hop the fence going through the back door thing, and I just, you know, followed what I knew. So you can't really blame me for this. This would happen all the time. Over the course of high school, like with different people, this probably happened 200 times. Like so many times. One particular time. It was bound to happen. It happened to my sisters a few times, but it was a Monday and we got out of school an hour earlier on Mondays for whatever reason. My mom works at an elementary school as a librarian. I normally got done at 2:50. My mom's school would get done at like 2:15 or something, so she would normally, if I didn't have soccer or dance, she would pick me up after she got done with work before I could drive. But on Mondays, since I got out an hour earlier and she had to stay later than usual on Mondays because she had meetings, I would have a friend take me home, a friend's mom take me home on Mondays, and I would get home like at 2. So every Monday, I would always have my boyfriend come over, do the hop the fence thing. My mom wouldn't get home till like 4-ish, and she would always call me because she'd be like, I'm on my way home, do you need anything? Like, whatever. She would always let me know. So we would have like 2 hours. This one particular Monday, I didn't know it, okay, but apparently my mom had a minimum day at school, so she got out around noon and probably stayed until like 12:30, and then she would go out to lunch with some of the teachers that worked at the school. Surprise, my boyfriend gets there around 2. My mom got home at about 2:30. We were upstairs in my room. Thank goodness, like, we were just like, I don't know what we were doing. We were just like laying down talking and stuff. We weren't like fucking doing anything. And normally what we would do is when my mom called me to say she was on her way home, we would sit downstairs by, I have a window in my living room, and through the window you can see my mom's car drive by and pull into the garage. And what we would do is, cutting it pretty close, but like it was also the safest way to do it, whenever we would literally see my mom get home and she would start to pull into the garage, that's when he would go out the back door and hop the fence, because if he had hopped the fence while she was like coming down the street, that would be terrible. I didn't know my mom was going to be home early because I didn't know that she had a minimum day, and she didn't call me. Like, I think maybe she forgot that I got out early, and so she was like coming home and then she was going to go pick me up. I don't know, I don't remember, but she silently, because you can hear our garage door, like you can just hear it when it opens. I have no idea, maybe just because we were upstairs I didn't hear it. I don't even think I heard our door close, like when she walked in the house. For whatever freaking reason, she must have like known something was up, I don't know. And she comes up the stairs, again, don't hear any of this, just walks into the doorway of my room. I am facing my boyfriend on my bed and he's facing the doorway, so he sees her first. He's like, I can like picture his face, and it was just like, And then he goes,
"Hi, Mrs. Mishler."
oh my gosh. And my mom, she was pissed, but she didn't really show it until he left. I mean, he knew she was pissed because she was like, let's say his name's Timmy, just because I want to get the full effect.
"Hi, Timmy. You need to go. You need to go right now."
And he's like,
"Yeah, okay, sure. Sorry."
Of course, then I got yelled at. I should have known. I should have only picked like 2 or 3 things because I take so long to explain things. But I want to get into the next story, which is the last one involving this boyfriend. Thank goodness. Good riddance. This boyfriend and I, like I said, he was abusive. We were good for like the first 6 to 8 months, and then he started like really showing true self. Around 8 months was the first time that he like physically hit me. Oh, you are not about to start using loud machines. I broke up with him the first time around like 8 months. To make a long story short, we got back together and broke up so many times I couldn't even give you an estimate. Just so many times. There was one time that it actually lasted for a couple months, and then of course the final time. When I broke up with him the first time, not the very first time, but the first time that it lasted, it must have been on a Friday, because the next Saturday morning, I find this out a little bit later in the day, but he had come to my house with a box full of like a bunch of my stuff, or like stuff that I gave him, stuff that we had, like a scrapbook, just like, you know, all that kind of stuff. He left that on this little bench right outside of my front door. It must have been early in the morning. I was at like an all-day dance clinic thing, sort of out of town. He didn't text me that he did this. Like we hadn't talked. I got home. My fucking camera keeps overheating. I'm sorry. Okay. I get home from my dance clinic. I'm up in my room. I'm changing. My dad knocks on my door. And I'm like, 1 second. I'm changing, whatever. Then when I'm done, I'm like, okay, you can come in. And my dad walks in. He goes, Joj, can I talk to you? He's visibly serious. He doesn't look mad. He looks very like upset and like disappointed, which is just like the worst. And I'm like, yeah. What? He like fully steps into my room and he's holding this box that my ex left outside of our house on the bench. I'm like I don't know what it is. I've never seen it. He kind of just like is holding it, and I'm like just kind of like looking at him, and he's like, you don't know what this is? And I'm like, the box, the shoe box. And he's like, oh, you didn't know that this was left outside for you? And I was like, what? No, like I had no idea what it was. He's like, this was left outside of our house this morning. I must have dropped it off. Oh, I just said his name. I want you to look inside of it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what did this kid leave me on my doorstep that's about to like get me in trouble? Like, what? I mean, at the time I thought like, great, there's probably like letters in there, there's probably our scrapbook. Like, I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend yet because I'm 15. My parents know about this kid by now. They know that like there's a thing, but like I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend. And so I'm like, okay, great, there's probably just like love notes and like proof that, you know, we've been together for like a year now. I look in the box, and the first thing on top of the box, the most frustrating thing ever. So frustrating, because like, why would you do that? This literally is something kind of just ruined my life. Didn't ruin my life, but affected my life, not only in that moment, but like forever. At the time I felt ashamed and embarrassed and like scared that I was gonna be in trouble, and like, fuck, like my parents know who I really am now. Now I just feel like sad for them, not for myself. So what was on top of the box? It was a box of Plan B. I know you're thinking, why the hell would he put a box of Plan B in the box of your stuff? Like, why would he need to include that? I have no idea. I have no idea. I'll explain though. Like, if you're gonna give it to me, give it back to me later, but also like, why would you do that? Because like, we just broke up, so what, are you giving me that to use with someone else? Anyway, earlier on in our relationship, I had to take Plan B. I think I was like 14, and my sister had to buy it for me. Sorry if my parents are watching this and they're now realizing that my sisters were teaching me. Earlier on in our relationship, I had to take Plan B. Looking back, I hadn't even started my period yet, so I probably was good, but I didn't know. I was like, he came and said to me, I'm gonna take Plan B. This was like a whole thing. Like, I texted my sister about it. He brought the money to school and gave it to me. She came like during my lunch break or something, and I ran out to the car and gave it to her, and she went and got Plan B. He gave me like $100 bill, I think, or $250s. I don't know, it was $100. And so I gave it to my sister, and she went and she bought 2 because they're like $50. I was like, I only wanted 1. Like, he's probably gonna be pissed that you know, spent all his money or whatever. And she was like, I don't care. Like, I'm not doing this again, so like, I bought you 2. And he was fine with it. So I took the 1, he ended up keeping the other one, I guess, for some reason. Maybe I took it at his house, I don't know. So he decided, I guess, to put it in the box of my shit. Now, I don't think, despite how terrible of a person this kid was to me, I don't think he was trying to like get me in trouble, because like that wouldn't, I don't know. I don't think he was trying to do that. I think he probably assumed I would get to the box first. I think he's just stupid. I mean, I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get grounded. I didn't, like, literally, I didn't really have any consequences from this, but my parents were very upset, and I didn't even talk to my mom about it. My dad dealt with this all with me because my mom was just so devastated, and like, I'm 15 and like they had seen that we had been having sex for like a long time, and that was one of the things where it's like I wasn't explicitly telling my parents at 13, 14, 15 years old I'm having sex, or I mean I wasn't explicitly telling my parents I'm not having sex, and they weren't asking me and I wasn't being like no. It was just one of those things that like they didn't even think that would be a thing that I would do. I'm a good person, I was a good kid, but like I just wanted to do things that I wasn't allowed to. So, and that doesn't make them like morally wrong or anything. That's just my opinion. They would have never expected that. So that was one of the things where it's like, yeah, I got caught doing something that I really wasn't supposed to do. And then in fact, I had to like go talk to someone at my church about this. I had to like, it was this whole thing. Meanwhile, I'm still having sex. I think at the time I was mostly just like upset that I had gotten caught and upset for like what was gonna happen to me if I was gonna be in trouble and whatever. Like I said, I didn't get grounded. Like my parents aren't gonna ground me for something like that because they weren't mad. They were just very like hurt and disappointed. And it might sound stupid to you. Your parents might have been cool with it, but like I said, I was raised Mormon, and that's like, besides murder, that's like the biggest sin is sex before marriage. And I was so young and like their baby and whatever. There was that time, and I just remember freaking texting him after, you were so fucking dumb. Like you literally, my parents got that box first. Why didn't you tell me you were leaving it? Why the fuck would you put a plan B in it? And then for whatever reason, I ended up getting back with that kid. Don't ask me. It was just a really hard conversation to have. My dad asked me like how many times did it happen, and I was like just one, because I really didn't want to be like, oh, I've been doing it for 3 years now. That's probably the hardest one on this list, even though it wasn't like this huge explosion of like getting caught and all this stuff, but just not a very fun one. Okay, I have 4 more on this list, but I already been filming for so long, so, well, I'll just mention this one really quick. Whenever my parents would go out of town, they would go on like week or 2 long week trips, and when we were younger, we would have someone like come watch us, but then as everyone got older and I was the only one in high school, they would just have like one of my sisters come over and watch me, which was like the best thing ever, because like my sisters weren't about to be responsible. They let me do whatever I want. They let me have friends sleep over during the week. They let me have my boyfriend sleep over. They let me have parties. I never got caught doing anything while having a sister watch me. Number one, because I had learned at that point to close all of the windows and blinds and make everyone come in through the back door because my neighbor is a snitch. Number two, because it's not like we had a babysitter who was going to snitch on us. It was my sisters, and they were buying the alcohol. They were allowing me to. Anyway, I don't need to drag them into this. There was one time where I got caught having a party, and it was stupid because like my sisters had their friends over too, and like they were involved too. Like granted, they were older, so yeah, my parents were mad at them, but they couldn't like get grounded, you know, they weren't even living at home. But yeah, they got in trouble, obviously, like in trouble as you can get when you don't live at home. But I got super grounded for a long time. I don't remember how they found out, but that happened. Okay, I'm gonna end with this one because there's 2 more, and one of the 2 could literally be a whole story time because it's so great. I mean, it was terrible, but it's such a great story. So the one that I'll end with is, this happened my senior year. This one was really bad for me because I was about to be going off to college and my parents were gonna be paying for it. They weren't making me go to BYU like all my other sisters because they all got kicked out, and they realized, okay, we're not gonna do that. So I was really scared that they were gonna like, I was just really scared. This was in the era of what, 2011, I was a senior, where I would always Skype my friends. My best friend that has been in lots of story times before of me doing bad things, and she's gonna be in the one that I mentioned earlier too. We got in a lot of trouble together. Like she was the main friend that I would always get in trouble with. But we also had the most fun, and we also did the most bad things, so it makes sense that we got in trouble the most together. We would always like have Skype conversations with each other, and I feel like we would usually just like type because we would like be in a room with our family or whatever. We had been having a conversation one night, and like, I mean, I guess we were talking about the next morning maybe or something, because me and this girl would like smoke before school every day. Okay, my camera, she's dying, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But basically, we were talking about smoking weed the next morning, like what time we were gonna meet up or something like that. I don't know, because we would do it every day before school. Sometimes we would even drink too. Guys, literally don't be like me if you're younger watching this. I know most of you aren't. That's why I feel okay telling these stories, because my audience is mostly my age or even older. But yeah, if you happen to be younger, don't fucking do stuff like that. But we were TA for a dance class, so like first period and then second period we had dance and then have lunch, so we would be like who cares? We don't have to do real stuff till like this afternoon. So anyway, but we were talking about that on Skype. I was actually, oh my god, I was actually doing something for like my college application. So it must have been like the beginning of my senior year, I guess. I don't really know. Don't you do that junior year? I don't know, maybe it was junior year. But I was doing college application stuff at the time. I needed to give my laptop to my mom to put in her card information because you have to pay to apply. What the hell? So I'm like, Mom, can you put in your card info? And so I hand her my laptop. She's like just putting it in, and I had been having a conversation with my friend at the time. Like a little notification popped up, and it doesn't show the whole conversation, but I guess my mom clicked on it. But I mean, she would have known already because my friend said something about smoking. I'm like on a different couch, so I don't see her doing this, but she clicks on it and she sees at least like our recent conversation. She asks me to come over and sit by her, and she's like, what is this? So I'm not gonna go into the ramifications of that one because I feel like I just like, we always had to be, oh my god, shut the fuck up. This video has to end. We always had to be careful, and like I would get caught with this girl so many times that it was just like my parents knew that like, they liked her a lot, but they knew that like we were always fucking lying about shit. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna do in this video because camera's dying, someone is doing whatever that is outside, and there's something in my eye. But mostly because I've been talking for like 3 hours. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up. I wanna know what the worst thing that you've ever done in high school or just while living at home under your parents' roof. What the worst thing you've ever gotten caught for. Whoa, is that English? The worst thing? Stop. The worst thing that you've ever gotten caught for doing. Yeah, okay. God, this video is gonna be a bitch to edit. Hopefully YouTube won't give me a strike on my account and fucking take down my video. They took down my most recent video, and it was literally me taking my prescription medication because it was illegal and harmful, but totally legal, totally not harmful, totally good actually. Totally like self-care, self-love, but it's fine. What even is that? Sounds like they're like trying to start a lawnmower over and over and it's not working. Like fucking, it's not working, just stop. Alright, bye. Hi, boo boo.